For the next 10 minutes or so, as the music plays, we invite you to just close your eyes, relax, rest in the presence and hold space.
Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye namo namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Ganapataye namo namaha. 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 Omega Dantaya Vidmahi Vakratundaya Dhimahi Tanno Danti Prachodayat. Ganapataye namo namaha. 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 Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Ganapataye namo namaha. 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 Om Vakratundaya Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvigyam Kuru Me Deva Sara Karyeshu Sarvada. Ganapataye namo namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Suklam Bharadaram Vishnu Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyaye Sarvavignyopashantaye. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Gam Ganapataye Namo Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha.
Namaste. Welcome to our weekly online satsang. Satsang is a Sanskrit word that means community of truth. So wherever we have two or more seekers or finders of truth who come together to share their journeys, to share their challenges, their strengths, their presence, we have a satsang. And it strengthens us exponentially when we join together with others who are in the process of awakening, the flowering of the heart. So it's important to try to find a community somewhere close to you where you can actually come together and share hands-on blessings and speak more intimately. And if you can't find one, start one. You don't have to be an expert in spirituality or some great enlightened being. We share in these online satsangs and all the satsangs and processes that we hold at Flowering Heart Center, something called the Flowering Heart Blessing, Hridaya, Vikasa, Diksha. It's a form of the direct transmission of divine enlightened awareness, unconditional love, grace that catalyzes the process of awakening in the receiver. If one is already awakening, it helps to remove blocks and smooth the journey. If you're already awakened, well, it'll take you deeper because, as I share frequently, awakening is not a destination, but an ongoing process of the expansion of consciousness, which potentially goes on infinitely. So we're glad you're here. And I was talking about starting a blessing group close to you. We have a 36-minute initiation video on our website at floweringheart.org. 36 minutes long that just explains a little bit about the Flowering Heart Blessing, its unique features, and there's a guided meditation of initiation. And so all you need to do is invite a friend over, or a couple friends, pull up our website and hit play on the video. And you can download it. It's free to anyone who wants to download it and use it. So please do. In the meantime, if you're here, you're already soaking in the Flowering Heart Blessing, which continues through the entire satsang. And that means you're initiated. So you can invite the divine to pour the blessing through you to everyone who joins us in the satsang tonight, with a special intention we hold for anyone who ever watches the video or listens to the audio of these satsangs at any time in the future. If they watch this 10 years after we do it tonight, they'll feel the same grace, the same presence, the same energy. And it's a great way to let the divine work on you while we sit here together, because as the grace passes through you, the divine works on you. So how do I do that? All you do is just invite the divine to pour the blessing through you. Because you're not doing it. You don't need to understand how it works. You don't need to do anything except consent to be an instrument of the divine. So please do. And give us a like or a love. If you're on Facebook, give us a thumbs up or a heart or some other emoji so we can go in and see your name at the end and in the days ahead over the next week, send you special hugs and blessings. If you're watching on Vimeo, you can just enter your name. Hi, it's David, namaste on the chat, and we'll go in and look and send you special blessings as well. If you're watching on LinkedIn or YouTube, you'd have to send us an email, and that's fine. We'll also send you special blessings. This coming Sunday is the last Sunday of the month, which many of you may know. That's when we celebrate our interfaith communion with the Cosmic Christ. The Cosmic Christ being the spark of divinity at the heart of everything in creation, that is pure love, pure mercy, and holds the blueprint for transformation. In India, this is often referred to as the Paramatma. Other people call it the God within, the Christ within. we call it the cosmic Christ. And so many people are beginning to experience the heart path and Christ consciousness that we just have thrown the door open for everyone, regardless of your faith tradition or lack thereof. Feel free to join us. We've had Muslims and Jews and pagans and Taoists and Buddhists and anybody else I failed to mention. People of all faiths can join together with us, and every aspect of the divine has a certain flavor. So the cosmic Christ is a unique expression of the divine, and I think you'd enjoy it. If you feel drawn, we are doing it in all the same places on Facebook Live and Vimeo and YouTube and LinkedIn. Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And please, or if you happen to be in Clearwater, come to Flowering Heart Center and join us live. We follow these live events with a potluck lunch and some time for fellowship, and then a little while later we have our book club and our centering group, and you can make a day of it or come for any part of it you're interested in. Is there anything else we need to announce?
No, I think you got it.
Okay then. Well, we like to open it to questions and answers on the spiritual journey. Now, this could be considered your part, your contribution. All of us there have things that we'd like to have more insight, more understanding, more depth relating to spirituality, meditation, prayer, life after death, other planes of reality, etc. Anything that involves the spiritual journey. All of us have curiosity to know more. So if you ask your question here in the chat on Vimeo or here on Facebook Live, then we hold it up on the inside to the divine. And the divine pours into Suzanne and me insight, light to share with you, and it helps the whole group. The last few weeks, we've been thin on questions. Yeah, so I'm hoping that someone here tonight would like to learn something. But if you don't, that's okay. Some people just want to bask in the energy. But I'd like to invite you to listen to that still small voice and ask that inner voice of the Spirit, is there something I might ask that would contribute to the discussion during the satsang tonight? And while you're pondering that, I'm going to share a little article with you from inspiringquotes.com, which I do each week. And this is entitled, When You Get, Give, 14 Quotes About Volunteering. And this was written by Joyce Chen, a writer, editor, and community builder based in Seattle, Washington. And we've shared a lot of her little articles lately. We really appreciate you, Joyce. Thank you. Here's what she says about when you get, give. Quotes about volunteering. The benefits of altruism are varied and vast. Volunteering is a way to help others in need, to build community, and perhaps most importantly, to remind ourselves that we are all part of a bigger society. The ways that we can volunteer our time and skills are manifold, ranging from cleaning up public spaces or tutoring children to building houses or reading to the elderly in nursing homes. At the core of volunteerism is the idea of giving back. Recognizing that in order for our society to thrive, we all need to do our part. As an added bonus, studies have shown that volunteering actually benefits the volunteers themselves too. In addition to reducing stress, volunteering has also been found to increase feelings of joy and gratitude, which in turn improve our mood, sense of optimism, and immune system. In other words, as the idiom goes, you get what you give. Below, we've collected 14 quotes that prove the veracity of that statement. And so here we go. As you grow older, you will discover that you have two hands. One for helping yourself, the other for helping others. Audrey Hepburn. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Martin Luther King Jr. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead. Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. Muhammad Ali. To ease another's heartache is to forget one's own. Abraham Lincoln. Wherever you turn, you can find someone who needs you. Even if it is a little thing, do something for which there is no pay, but the privilege of doing it. Remember, you don't live in the world all of your own. Albert Schweitzer. Volunteers do not necessarily have the time. They just have the heart. Elizabeth Andrew. You give but little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give. Khalil Gibran. Volunteering is an act of heroism on a grand scale. And it matters profoundly. It does more than help people beat the odds, it changes the odds. Bill Clinton. Doing nothing for others is the undoing of ourselves. Horace Mann. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Mahatma Gandhi. Volunteers don't get paid, not because they're worthless, but because they're priceless. Sherry Anderson. The best way to not feel hopeless is to get up and do something. Don't wait for good things to happen to you. If you go out and make some good things happen, you will fill the world with hope and will fill yourself with hope. Barack Obama. When you learn, teach. When you get, give. Maya Angelou. Nice. Truly, it's when we begin to give that the door of the universe opens for us to receive abundance. Yep. Okay. Oh, we've got some things over here, which I'll come right back to. All right.
Want to refresh that?
Sure, then I got to jump through 2 hoops.
Right.
3, actually. But it's worth it. Okay. So.
Oh, yeah. Made a big difference.
Oh, there's Tristan's back. Yay. Hi, Tristan. So first we're going to take a question from Vimeo. So, Tom writes, I have a question. There's that famous passage where Jesus says, if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. But how can we do that without becoming a doormat? Well, this is not saying that you should allow people to beat you up or abuse you ongoing. But Jesus is suggesting that by not resisting evil, by lashing out and coming back with vengeance, that it actually opens the door for a transforming grace. So, somebody wants your shirt, give them your coat. They want you to go 1 mile, go 2. Now, that's as long as it is not compromising your integrity or your understanding of the spiritual law of the divine. If there's no reason not to, I mean, there's nothing that says if you slap me on one cheek, I have to slap you back or curse you. And I've done this when people struck me, and it wasn't just a slap, when it was really meant to be violence. And by not resisting, it opened the door to miracles that both preserved me from the violence intended and transformed the person that intended me harm, which was pretty amazing. One time I was in Hawaii, and there were some gang members who were going through the islands and committing a lot of violence. And these guys approached me. There was a small group of them. And the gang leader said, you know, I'm going to kill you. And then he dropped into a martial arts position. His legs and arms were very strong. I could see that. And he meant business. So he said to me, I'm going to kill you. And my response wasn't like, oh, please don't. It wasn't to run away. It wasn't to spring up and get in a martial arts position. I'd been studying Kung Fu for a number of years. I'm just sitting on the curb, and he said, I'm going to kill you. And he got in position. And I said, if God lets you. Now, I'm not saying everybody should do that, but I did. I put it in the hands of the divine and said, you're going to kill me if God lets you. And he tried, and there was a flash of light between his fist and my temple, and it was quite a blow that he delivered. And it just, that light came between me and the blow and shattered his fist. Now you can say I'm just real hard-headed, and there are a lot of people who would agree with you, but it shattered his fist. And it left me a cut that needed to have stitches, and we ended up in the same emergency room at the same hospital. And before it was over, and this was working on him the whole time that we're in the emergency room and waiting for the doctors and talking to the doctors, and the big, giant cop who came in and talked to him. And he came to me and he shook my hand and said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And that wouldn't have happened if I had responded in any other way. So it's not always right to turn the other cheek, especially if you're doing it over and over and over again. Then you're becoming a doormat. Do you want to add to that?
No.
Okay. Good question. Andy says, if one believes that one has made errors or poor choices in the past that are creating a seemingly hopeless present, how can one keep from obsessively revisiting and blaming oneself for those mistakes and discover one's power to create a positive present and future? Well, that does happen. I mean, for sure. our poor choices and errors in the past create negative karma. The law of karma is pretty much universal. It's often put in whatever you sow, you will reap many times over. So there are processes for dealing with these poor choices we've made and the dark karma that we've created. It is essential that we forgive ourselves. And to do that, we have to face the damage we've done, the poor choices we've made, and see how that's hurt other people. Also you see how it hurts you and hurts me when we do negative things. When we see and we experience the hurt that we've caused another, when we experience it personally, it frees that person. As most of us run from feeling interiorly the harm that we cause others. So we need to face it. We need to face our own shadows, and we need to have a conversation with ourselves. We have to do work. In 12 steps, part of it is making restitution. If you've wronged someone, maybe you borrowed $5,000 from someone because you really need it, and you promise, I'll definitely pay you back, and you didn't, and you've lost touch. You may feel bad and realize that sowed seeds of karma that could keep you from being able to prosper in the here and now, get loans if you need them. What should you do? You should go pay that person $5,000. And you should say, I realize that I didn't keep my word and I'm sorry. Forgive me. So there's work to be done. Sometimes it all has to be done on the inside because maybe that person you can't make contact with anymore. Maybe they've passed away. But we can work on dissolving negative karma. And one of the big mistakes people make, because there are two kinds of karma. There's good karma, sat karma, and there's bad karma, which is called in Sanskrit dush karma. And so you have two bank accounts, one filled with good karma, the other filled with bad karma. And people think if I do enough good deeds, it will compensate for and erase the bad I did. Which would be like a murderer going, if I feed enough orphans and take care of enough widows, that's going to make up for all these people I killed. No. The good karma will help you, even in the worst of situations. But a person would have to face the things that they had done and actually allow themselves to experience the harm caused. And then the goddess of karma steps in and frees the person that we've hurt, because they were probably holding on to it for years themselves. And will free us, because there are these spiritual dimensions of God, the Christ, who releases people from the effect of their sins, their misdoings. In the Hindu tradition, there's Gayatri, an aspect of the divine that consumes and dissolves karma. And yet, I kept hearing in India, you can't escape your karma. And I'd say, well, what about Gayatri? And they'd say, quiet, Michael. And that wasn't a good enough answer for me. So the next day I went boldly, what about Jesus? To which the monk said, shut up, Michael. And in the mix of this course on karma, I had a life review where everyone I had ever hurt in my life passed before my eyes. And I not only saw that I had hurt them, I got to feel the hurt that I had caused. When I came back to karma class, the monk looked at me and the tears rolling down my face said, what's wrong, Michael? I said, I experienced all the pain and hurt I've ever done. And there's no way I could live long enough to make all this right. And tears started to roll down his face and a big grin from ear to ear. And he said, you're free, Michael. I told you karma was the harshest and the strictest of gurus, but that's all she wanted you to do, was to embrace, face, acknowledge, and experience the harm you've caused. Now Gayatri will help you, or Christ, or whoever, the benevolent and compassionate dimensions of the divine that do release us from the bad seeds we've sown. So that's a great question, but the answer begs a lot of work, ongoing. But it's worth every moment. It is.
The other element to that too is, are you wallowing in the story and feeling so bad about it even after you have taken measures to seek forgiveness and to forgive the other person, place, or situation? Oftentimes we'll just keep replaying it and replaying it and replaying it, and that really keeps us from moving forward. So if you've already done the inner work and the personal work that Michael was speaking of, and you're still having a hard time with it, I would recommend the book that we are reading now for book club.
I've recommended it to him. He already knows.
All right. But for anybody else that's listening, that this is your first night or you haven't heard about it, it's Don't Believe Everything You Think, expanded edition, Why Your Thinking is the Beginning and End of Suffering. And it just puts things very simply. I mean, a lot of us don't realize how much we're in our minds and our thoughts throughout the day. And a lot of it causes us suffering, and he gives very beautiful insights and tools for how to catch yourself at this and not be dwelling on the past or present.
And this is part of what Andy asked, because he said, how can one keep from obsessively revisiting?
Right.
And blaming oneself for those mistakes. And see, that's not helpful. So when that comes up, don't just wallow in the memory and blame yourself. You can use the tools that you have. You can ask for grace to help you to build a whole new life, and to heal those things that happened in your past. But thinking about it doesn't help at all. It just causes suffering.
Right.
So if it's a person we've wronged, rather than beating myself up because I wronged somebody, I would be better off spending some time praying for them, or reach out to them, send love in their direction. But it's important that we come to a point of forgiving ourselves, because most of the stuff that's happening to us as a result of karma is not any kind of divine justice. It's self-judgment, which is very powerful. So, good question. Thanks for asking. Okay. Tristan. Aloha. My first question is, today I went to hospital for a autoimmune disease flare-up. With my psychology, I felt guilty about having the best healthcare system, and also blessed. I was trapped in a cycle of thinking and guilt that I had it well while suffering tremendous pain fall over my body. My question, is God listening to my pain? Because at moments I was praying for a supernatural healing. Have you witnessed supernatural physical healings? Because I believe I was lied to being brought up in a megachurch in Canada. I felt really dry toward God in those painful moments, and also grateful for God's presence in my karma of living in Canada. Well, Canada's a pretty blessed place to live. First of all, gratitude, because there are plenty of places that are far more difficult to be in. And every place has its issues. And yes, we have witnessed many supernatural physical healings. God is in the business of supernatural stuff. God is in the business of healing. God puts sickness on no one. Sickness is able to come upon us because somehow we or someone else has opened the door to that. A lot of stuff that happens to humanity is because we collectively have opened the door to so much disharmony, damage, and darkness. But God is not punishing. God has tried to warn us through all the great spiritual traditions. Live in harmony with the spiritual laws of the universe, and all these great things will happen. If you live out of harmony with the spiritual laws of the universe and in disobedience toward the voice of the divine presence, then some negative stuff is going to happen. But it's not because the divine is sending it, not at all. It's because we shut out the divine by our actions and open the door to some of these chaotic forces that are at play everywhere in this world. So, second question. I'm seeing a paradigm shift in people being fascinated with spiritual experiences. There's a rising amount of people who have fantasy aspects of Kundalini awakening and self-anointing guru syndrome. What are the dangers of pursuing spiritual positions with a limited knowledge of manipulating energy in an occult way? Well, you put it pretty clearly. It is dangerous to pursue spiritual positions with limited knowledge. I wouldn't pursue a spiritual position at all. Often these are referred to as vocations or callings, where there's actually a sense of the divine presence calling someone to step into a particular role. You don't have to be fully enlightened to be a useful spiritual teacher. But there are so many people that are not fully enlightened that are declaring themselves enlightened, self-anointed gurus, and that does a lot of damage because there's still ego at work there. If someone is actually awakened, the world will bear witness. There will be awakened people that will bear witness to your awakening. When Buddha awakened, the birds and the trees and all of nature celebrated in a very open way his awakening. Everybody that got anywhere near him knew this guy was different. And what are you? And he went, Buddha, which means awakened. Well, who are you, Buddha? One answer was, I'm awake. So if someone is actually awake, it emanates. The light ripples out and people can feel it. So there's no need for self-anointing, and that's a huge red flag when someone declares themselves to be enlightened or to be some great spiritual being. The dangers are there's damage to those who follow those with limited awakening. Often they gather people around them and they cord them so that they feed on the energy of their students, and they never deliver awakening because they're not really awakened, and they never let the people go to find their own way. But it also does great harm to the path of the false guru or the person who is declaring themselves to be awake when they're not. And you're right, we've seen a lot of it.
We've particularly seen a lot of it around plant medicine. You know, people will go on a journey with plant medicine and have these awakening experiences and then come back and decide that they're qualified because they've had this mystical experience to lead others through it. And without understanding the different ways that it can go sideways or side effects or, you know, any of the ramifications, because they're so elated from the spiritual experience.
And those are temporary. So experiences are temporary. All experiences pass. But the awakened state is permanent. So people have very high, and we're not deriding. The plant medicine has been doing a lot of good for a lot of people. But as Suzanne said, when someone has an experience of their ego completely dissolving and merging with the universe, in that moment, they go, I'm enlightened. Well, they're having an enlightenment experience, but then they come back to themselves, and there's still an ego going, now I've seen the supreme state. Well, seeing the supreme state is not the same as being permanently established in it and having it integrated with all the various levels of your humanity. But it's not just plant medicine. We saw this great movement of people going to India and going on retreats with very anointed spiritual masters and coming out of it just looking at their own experiences and wanting higher and higher experiences. And again, enlightenment isn't an experience. It's a transformation that dissolves the separate self for good. And that's good.
Which is the one that is excited about those experiences.
So, I mean, but yeah, we saw it happening to a lot of people in India because they were huge numbers of people over the last 20 years have experienced awakening. Their reality is permanently shifted from experiencing themselves as a mind with a body and an ego to experiencing themselves as the witnessing consciousness of the body and the mind and the ego and divine consciousness playing through the life. And often when that's a beginning to experience the witness state, but that's not the full journey. And so people with partial awakening would try to talk themselves into believing and others believing that they're fully awakened. And my old friend, the father of the centering prayer movement, the illuminated Trappist monk Thomas Keating, he said that a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. And he said, what's been masquerading for enlightenment recently, I consider endarkenment. So, and he was very highly awakened. And Ankit, namaste from New Delhi, and namaste to you in New Delhi. Thank you. And Yekaterina Kiev, hello from Mexico. And hello right back at you. Okay. That was all just wonderful. And
That's great. Good questions.
And both Tom and Andy thanked us for the answers and the sharing.
Nice.
Their questions were, if you didn't see them on Facebook, that's because they're watching on Vimeo. So, if you would, let me just, okay, I'll do one more refreshing of the page and make sure that we didn't miss somebody. Sometimes the questions haven't been posting unless I renew the screen. Yep. And there it is. So we'll take a few more minutes and try to deal with this. Tristan asks also, excuse me, what supports the Shakti when we have a Kundalini awakening and self from a master? I hear Tai Chi can be a great assistance. Cleaning homes, devotional singing. What is the Taoism teaching in assisting that gift? Thank you. Glad I can throw those journalism questions. All right. Well, whatever your spiritual practice is, will probably be supporting the Kundalini awakening, but certainly staying grounded and meditating. If people have trouble with the Kundalini energy too much and they can't sleep, lying on the ground in Shavasana, which we encourage at the end of these satsangs, walking in nature. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen master, encouraged that. St. John of the Cross, the master of the dark night of the soul, encouraged walking in nature, being in nature. Tai Chi Chuan is wonderful. Qigong is wonderful. Certain forms of yoga are wonderful. Other forms of yoga can really intensify the Shakti and leave it kind of ungrounded. So it's great to have a master teacher who knows their stuff. who can give you spiritual direction and guidance. But yeah, you're on the right track with Qigong and Tai Chi, and Taoism teaches all of that. I mean, Tai Chi comes from Taoism. Qigong, there's also Buddhist Qigong, but the oldest styles before Buddhism came to China came from the Taoist tradition. And personally, that's my foundation. I've been practicing Taoist advanced Qigong, Nui Gong, internal alchemy, which is the Taoist form of Kundalini Yoga, for over 50 years and teaching it. And it's wonderful. Keeps you integrated and grounded and from going nuts. So that's what I think. What do you think?
Yep.
But yeah, everything else you said, like cleaning homes, devotional singing, volunteering, working in the garden, anything that keeps you like in your body and grounded, and
Being barefoot, walking on the earth.
and not just thinking about yourself and the state you're feeling and trying to soup it up. That's that fascination you were describing that people have with spiritual experiences. So if you can let it all unfold in you with detachment and without craving, it's actually a much smoother journey these days than it was 50 years ago. The Kundalini journey, it was like a roller coaster for people. Now, most people I encounter on the spiritual path have experienced some degree of Kundalini awakening, which is great. Okay. And Ankit asks, second, I'm facing difficulty in earning my living. Take care of my responsibility at home. I'm getting entangled in more situation. Whatever progress I had is going down. My purpose is helping others in their awakening. Where do I begin? Nothing gives me more joy than teaching seekers. Please guide. Well, I mean, the governing law of prosperity is give and it will be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will people pour into your bosom. But it sounds like you're already a giving person. I don't know if you're of the Hindu tradition, but definitely there are aspects of deity in the Hindu tradition, like Lakshmi, who is the goddess of wealth and the consort of Lord Vishnu. And there you could do homas or have homas done for you. You could. There's certain things that Lakshmi likes things kept clean and neat. Lakshmi wants us to respect money and not leaving it scattered and lying around on the floor. You can learn from your own tradition certain things that help align your energies to the divine bestowers of prosperity. But if you're working and you're honestly and you're giving and serving, I'm guessing the universe is taking care of you and will continue to. Maybe not at the level that you would like, so ask the divine to help you to open yourself to receive more abundance. A lot of times it's rooted in unhealed stuff with our mothers. And so a healing process between you and your parents, maybe not on the outside, but inside yourself in meditation and prayer, can remove the obstacle. Because if you had a troubled relationship with your mother, then you would carry that into a troubled relationship with the divine feminine. If you have a troubled relationship with your father, that will tend to carry over into a troubled relationship with the divine masculine. All of these things create different problems in life, and a lot of it is rooted in early childhood development and areas of our relationship with our first authority figures that need to be healed. And there's so much more to say, we just can't say it in 10 seconds like this. Anything else?
Yep.
Okay, close your eyes. Close your eyes and invoke the presence. The divine dwells within you in all of its fullness. The so-called outer world is just a reflection of the inner world. The great Sufi, mystic, and poet Rumi said, "You're not a drop in the ocean of God. You are the entire ocean of God in a drop." It's all inside of you. And the divine loves you unconditionally. The divine yearns to illuminate us, to flood our spirits with divine light, to dissolve the illusion of separate existence, of the separate false self, which is the cause of all of our suffering. So invite the divine to flood you with the light of awakening, to flood your mind and your emotions with the grace that clears and dissolves negative thought forms, negative programming, charges, memories, much of it buried in the unconscious. The divine sees it all. Just receive the presence that is pouring out within you to illuminate your spirit, to clear and inspire your soul, to heal your physical body from all disease and pain. Pain in the body is just a blockage in the flow of the life force. The divine is in the healing business. Just receive the healing grace. Let it shine out into your relationships to heal them and order them correctly, to shine through you into the world, making you a lighthouse so that everyone who comes near you is catalyzed by the grace of awakening. For now, just know the divine knows exactly what you need, holds nothing against you, accepts you exactly as you are, and is pouring out to you awakening and healing and transformation. Receive, drink it in, breathe it in, and be transformed. You don't need to ask or beg now or plead with the divine. Just receive what the divine is giving you. It's all-knowing and all-powerful and all-wise, and it is pure love. Receive the divine light that is shining within you and to you in this very moment. Imagine us sitting in a circle together. Keep your eyes closed, but lift up your hands with your palms open, facing forward, as we take a strong intent for the flowering heart blessing to flow through every one of you to all the others in the circle. Just allow the divine to move through you. It's coming back to you through all the others. And as the grace is flowing through you to them, it's transforming you, awakening and healing you. Imagine the planet Earth in the middle of our circle, the beautiful translucent blue pearl in space. 8.3 billion approximately human beings on this planet, sharing one love, one heart, one consciousness, expressing through over 8 billion unique and quirky forms. It's so important that humanity shift from competition, conflict, and war to cooperation, harmony, and peace. Let us ask the divine and take a strong intent that the flowering of the heart blessing will flood every human heart on earth and melt away the fear, melt away the hatred, the anger, and all violence. May the heart of humanity be flooded with unconditional love for all being and with peace. We speak peace to the earth. May war cease to the end of the world. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now you could relax your hands somewhere in your lap and open your eyes and begin to make direct eye contact with Suzanne and or me. Just keep gazing at least one of our eyes as the light meditation begins. In this meditation, Suzanne and I are flooded with oceans of grace and light and love for you. It streams through every part of our being to you, especially through our eyes. The eyes have been called the windows of the soul. As you just keep looking, the light comes flooding through, streaming through our eyes, in through your eyes, into your heart of hearts, causing the light of awakening within you and the fires of divine love within you to burn brighter and brighter and brighter. Nothing to do, nothing to think, nothing to ask for, just look and receive. Close your eyes now. Meditate with us a few more minutes as the grace settles. Now you can keep meditating as long as it feels good to you, or lie down in Shavasana. Shavasana is a yoga pose where you just find a comfortable spot and lie down on your back with your eyes closed and your arms loosely at your sides with your palms open, turned upward. And just relax and let yourself dissolve with gratitude in the presence. You could go to sleep and spend the rest of the night there if it's comfortable. We love you very much.
Much love, light, and blessings.
Until we meet again, know that the divine in us beholds the divine within you, and we bow to you. Namaste.
Namaste.